Ann Arbor's Talk Station, 1290 WLBY, the Lucy Ann Lane Show. Damian on Design each weekend here with Damian Farrell from Damian Farrell Design Group, dfdgonline.com. Also, check out the YouTube version of Damian on Design. Just Google Damian Farrell, and you go to youtube.com. Today we're going to talk about some of the trends coming up in 2015. Happy New Year again.
Happy New Year to you.
And what is the home of the future going to look like?
What is it going to look like? A lot of speculation, right? And lots of ideas. So we tapped our friends at House to see what they were thinking about this whole topic, and they've got a lot of good ideas. Some of them are a little questionable in my mind, but we can run through some of these. I think there's some fun stuff.
How do they figure out what trend is going to trend?
I know. It's a little bit like naming paint colors, don't you think?
Yeah, right.
Carpet samples.
There's some guru up there who says, this is what we're going to do, and everyone's going to do it.
It will be coral. Isn't that what we read earlier?
Coral,
yes.
Coral, the color this year, possibly?
Yeah, define coral, right?
That reminds me of the 1970s, 80s.
Yeah, yeah. I thought coral was multicolored.
Oh,
I thought there were many different kinds.
All right, what are you seeing out there, Damian?
Furniture-style design features. I think that's been around for a long time, but what we're seeing is that the modern movement, contemporary furniture, being expressed in the same way. So, I think most people are familiar with kitchen islands as a good example. Big heavy ball feet or claw and ball type of features. Now translating that into the more contemporary, so very slim legs coming down with maybe a metal accent. In other words, really kind of touching the floor very lightly to give a feeling of airiness, if you will, in furniture floating. And so kitchens are picking up on that. Still seeing projecting, the gurus are projecting a lot of open shelves and that sort of stuff for kitchen. I don't know, how do you feel about that? I'm always mixed about putting everything out on shelves in the kitchen.
Well, you're talking to a woman who has all glass cabinets, and it forces you to stay organized. But you can only do that if you've got a pantry where everything is put away, your goods, your dry goods and all of that. Yeah. But I love displaying my china and my dishes and my glassware in those glass cabinets. Yeah. But open, where there's no cabinet on it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and things like around a stove, for instance, or a cooktop, where you might have your spices and oils and all of that stuff. No matter what you're doing, no matter how you cook, you're still getting some oil and grease floating around.
Right.
So it looks cool. I get it.
Yeah.
It's, there's a minimalism to it. Apparently wallpaper's coming back.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I can deal with wallpaper.
I don't know if I can deal with that either. It was just kind of getting used to using paint only.
Yeah.
Or leaving things white, for that matter. Imagine that, just leaving things white.
Or even using paint in a full wallpaper.
Fashion, yeah. But apparently wallpaper is coming back.
Wow, it was bound to happen.
It had to happen, right? The cycles. So the modern traditional style, I think, I think this is pulling at words to try to describe, as people try to describe trends. It's probably inevitable, right?
How modern and traditional?
They're blending the two together. So the people who are doing very modern, contemporary stuff, people are still doing very traditional. So there must be people out there looking for something in the middle.
Huh.
So what it might be is a very crisp, clean countertop, for instance, no rounded bull noses or OG edges on a more traditional base cabinet, but fairly clean lines, kind of shaker-style doors, as we all become accustomed to seeing, and more simplified feet. So less trim, less richness, less layering, to try to blend in with the contemporary. One of the things I really do like that I've seen, and this is really a result of the modern movement or the more contemporary architecture, high windows above cabinets, those kinds of things, transom-style windows, things that make you look up and that bring in the light from the higher levels. So if you look, we talked about David Osler's work a couple of weeks ago with his son, Peter. A lot of that era of work, so Ann Arborites in this area will be familiar with these expressions of high windows above things, bringing light directly across the ceiling plane. I like that. I think we don't have to just do traditional openings in the wall.
Right.
We can look for as many ways as possible to bring natural light in. Apparently they are predicting metallics are going to be strong. So
metallic,
copper, and
really,
I don't know if this is a move back to away from the burnished or the brushed or the rubbed finishes. Interesting to see. So we can talk to some of our friends at Gross Electric and some of the hardware places. And touch me textures, they're calling. So tile and countertops and so on that have the kind of texture you want to reach and touch. One of the things that I find, what's very popular right now as well, these wood tones porcelain tile. So porcelain tile in long strips, right?
They're beautiful.
They're beautiful.
They really are.
Very, very practical. Very reasonable too, because porcelain is such a reasonable material. But, the ones we have in the office, I find people touching them all the time. There's just something, that you just want to feel it.
Huh.
You want to feel, and then the surprise when people didn't realize that in fact it's not wood.
Right.
The first time.
It looks remarkable.
It looks remarkable. The way they've actually got the grain going, and it doesn't have that sort of fake shiny finish. It really looks like a piece of wood. And so I think some of those touch me textures will continue to be around. I think that's very popular and it's going to stay. I read some talk about minimal wall cabinets. I don't know. I think if you're doing an apartment somewhere in the city and you eat out almost every single night and your kitchen is a token gesture, fine.
You can't get away with that in a normal house.
I don't see people getting away with that in the normal house. A lot of, floor tile, I'm seeing, featured floor tiles, I think of companies like Matawi, for instance, who do these beautiful tiles. Their market share has grown tremendously. So bringing the artisan and the art in to it.
So making a statement with something like that. Okay.
Whether it's a panel and accent or occasional tile on the floor or on a backsplash.
Right.
The natural beauty of woods continues to be appealing. I find that very appealing. I think that's a beautiful way to, if you're looking for that calmness in a house, to bring some of those wood tones in. Green architecture from the point of view of literally bringing plant life and so on in as well. Now we can do green walls, and we see pictures of green walls behind bathtubs, mosses and stuff, literally growing inside the room. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Very exciting that now the technology allows you to be able to plant things on a vertical surface like that. So those are some of the things that the freestanding bathtub is still a big favorite.
You have one of those.
I have one of those.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's half freestanding. It's sort of the back part of it is built into a shelf.
Oh, I didn't realize
that.
So
what I did back then, because you couldn't get the kinds of freestanding bathtubs now, is we took a traditional clawfoot tub and set it at an angle with the back of it into a shelf. So it's not fully freestanding, but you can get into it from both sides. And right when we finished our house, we had it on a home tour. And I was just standing around there, people going through the home, which actually you should never do. You should never be around and some other people are touring your home and they don't know you're the homeowner.
Unless you have a steel stomach.
Yeah, and someone walked in and said, I wonder what he's going to do with the bathtub, because it was at an angle in the middle of the room.
And they thought
and built into halfway.
It wasn't quite finished.
It wasn't quite finished, yeah. So someone so the master suite as a retreat. Boy, I think you're doing that with your new home. We've done that with our master suite. It really is a retreat. And I don't see that diminishing at all.
It's almost a separate home in a way, because
it is.
For people that like to have that sitting area and then the bed, and you've got your big walk-in closet.
Yeah,
and
it's this intimate apartment in your home.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And we made ours so that we could get out to the back yard of the home as well from our master suite.
Okay. So you're doing that, bringing the indoor-outdoor thing, making that connection very strong, which I think that trend will continue.
I didn't want to have to walk back through the house to go to the backyard,
as window companies have jumped onto this bandwagon of the big sliding, folding panels of windows where you can get openings 10, 12, 16 foot wide, and the doors sort of recess. That, I think, will continue even here in climates like Michigan. There is something wonderful about throwing it open like that. Lots of clever water controls. People are concerned about water usage. We've talked about healthy indoor environments, so heat recovery technology, beg your pardon, materials that are non-off-gassing, paints, those kinds of things. Seeing a strong focus on that. Push-through water heaters. And
here's something that's not in the home, but it's generally connected to it. Bigger garages might be on the horizon. Grander garages.
I saw that, and I don't really understand it. I don't see it. I don't know why. I don't know what the reason would be.
This says that they include bringing the driveway's material into the garage, temperature controls, sleek glass doors, specialized zones for home audio-visual controls, and a big sink or tub to wash pets. Now that I agree with.
That I agree with. And that we do a lot of. And that is actually something I wish I had incorporated into our house, into our mudroom area, was that. Because right now the dogs get bathed in that bathtub, that famous bathtub that I haven't decided where to put yet. So that I completely agree with. I think, we have continued over the years to do collector car garages for a selection of clients. So yes, those people exist too.
Right.
We just did a schematic recently. The project's not going ahead, unfortunately, for someone who has 14 cars.
Wow.
Right. And so this guy's passionate about his cars. And as he buys them, he just keeps them. And they're all, exotic cars. They're all really, really wonderful cars. And so, yes, there is a desire from that point of view. But I don't see the idea. I see, nice storage units being put in garages and people putting down epoxy floors so you can keep it clean. The grandness, I don't know. I don't really get why you would make it grand.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you're banished to the garage.
Yeah.
And then you would like one of those. Anything else as far as what you see in the future for what clients are asking for?
I am seeing much more customization of cabinets. We are doing more and more of our vanities, kitchens, custom made for that job. And so,
like what? How would they customize it? Give
so
an example.
it would not be a you wouldn't be buying box cabinets, the boxes for the cabinets, and then putting doors on of a standard line. You could literally design your own door. The boxes for the cabinets, the base of the cabinets, if you will, would be built to fit an area and would be built with not necessarily just standard sized doors. There are so many cabinet makers now who are available that the cost of being highly customized is no longer a big issue. You pay a little bit more, yes, but if you're dealing with a very specialized kitchen in a specialized area, particularly in remodels, for instance, so where instead of having to work to a 3-inch module from a stock cabinet, that you don't lose the space, using fillers and that kind of stuff. You really customize for that area. Many people available to do that work for you. So you can really have at it with your door design, hinge design, drawer design, how you fit out your cabinets. A dramatic increase, exponential almost, since 2008. Of people doing much more customization.
I can't get over, since I had remodeled my kitchen about 15 years ago, the changes in kitchens since now we're building a new home and what goes in there. Just little things that, I'll give you one example. Under the sink, that area, if it gets wet under there and the wood then starts to buckle up, they have now, it's built into the cabinet, a rubber mat that goes up the sides, down on the bottom. That's, it's an extra add-on for that, but I thought that was really
very good idea.
Brilliant.
As a liner.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the little details I love to do on our kitchens if we're customizing is the area in front of the sink. There's actually room in there to do a little tilt-down, flop-down drawer.
I have one of those.
You have a great.
You put your sponges or whatever.
Exactly, perfect.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, brilliant, rather than just that lost dead panel behind it. So, much more flexibility, more attention to detail, what goes into drawers.
And I think the cook wants to have a place for all the different pans you have. You know, this notion of having to rummage through and put one pan up and another, and then to get to the pan you want a place for all of that. And there are ways to do it in a well-designed kitchen.
There are, and I'm a great fan of big drawers below the cabinet.
Yes.
As opposed to doors.
Yes.
So drawers or pull-outs.
Yes.
Where you can see down into things and pull things out.
Right.
You may lose a little bit of space, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Rather than getting
These
down on your knees.
These are deep and big.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. And there are systems you can put in those to actually have dividers if you want to. And
flexible stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's all out there. The question is, do you have the money for it?
The money for it. And how's this year going to play out? It's going to be a very interesting year.
2015. Yeah. Do you think we're going to be doing more building, more
remodeling? I think we are. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a rush. I know everyone's busy now, but I think the busyness has come out of the fact that we really did lose a lot of people. We lost a lot of craftsmen and a lot of the trades. I mean, it simply got to where people moved away because they could no longer do what they were doing.
Right.
So the busyness, I think, right now is because we haven't been able to staff up, if you will. And so we've got fewer people trying to catch up to the volume of work. So we'll have to see, as Michigan recovers, and our numbers certainly look good, our unemployment looks good, whether people come back, whether people go to the trades, they start to go to places like Washington Community College, to some of the trade schools to learn some. Right now we haven't seen that happen yet.
No, and there's a big push to get young people to be considering this.
Yes.
The governor has been promoting this
Yes.
as well, and our local Builders and Remodelers Association of Greater Ann Arbor.
Right.
But they can't find the help that they need.
People.
Yeah.
That's the problem right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's a great industry to go in. I would urge young people to look into it.
So many variables, so much creativity,
Mm-hmm.
so many different things that you can do
Yeah.
and specialize in, so many niches available to you. You know.
And you're one of the best at it.
Oh, that's very nice.
Thank you,
of you.
Damian.
Thank you
Damian
so
Farrell
much.
with Damian on Design each week, architect here in Ann Arbor. You can visit dfdgonline.com. That's Damian Farrell Design Group on the Lucy Ann Lance Show, 1290 WLBY. Great job.
Cool.
Thank you.